Papua New Guinea, Honorable President of East African Court, Honorable Representative of Justice Sector. I'm not very official, so I'll be very direct. I'm very honored and happy today to be here, because I remember 4 years ago, I first came to Rwanda, Kigali, and we started the implementation of IECMS. I was the one who was actually designing the system with my colleagues, making trainings, bringing it to life. So before the real presentation is done, I would like to share how, from our perspective, we did. So who were we? Actually, we are not the biggest IT company in the world. We are a very small business, but we have a global footprint. Even before we came to Rwanda, we have done projects in more than 70 countries. Though we have our headquarters in US, we have our development center in Armenia, and also we have in Europe. Soon, we will have an office here in Rwanda, just to be close to you. Chief Justice also told that the team was in Armenia. This is where we have our training center. Team from Rwanda was in Armenia as well to learn how to use IECMS, how to maintain it. So, like this, we have done many projects, 500, but this one is the closest to my heart, actually. Sometimes I call this is my small baby, and I will remind something to Jean-Louis. We had a conversation 4 years ago. So, how actually the implementation went? As Jean-Louis told, there has been many things done before actually the RFP was out and we started. I remember first day I got a document of 500 pages to read, which described all the processes. I hated that part. I had to learn every word, not to skip anything. But we, the Armenians, we not keep backward. We tried to go the same way. We came here and we started the need assessment. It was the only country where I was taken to prison. Because you cannot design a system for correctional services if you do not go and see how it is being done. I was afraid. I thought that they will keep me there. We went to police stations, we went to courts, we went to Ministry of Justice, we went to prosecution offices. So to see in real life how it is being done. And we came up with a system design document, which described what actually the IECMS would give. So remember, they make me read 500 pages? We made something like 600 pages, so they have to read everyone, which described every detail. So that's the first phase, how we started IECMS. First, it was just a prototype, couple of pictures and a lot of text telling how notifications would go, how the fields will be, what roles will be, how they can modify and further all this. This was the first part. Then we came to so-called agile development. We started development, we made demos, they were checking and saying, oh, it's not the way it should be, change. We change, then again we show. This way we made, I remember during those times, my wife thought that I'm married to my office. I was staying there day and night, because it was very ambitious. If you think it's ambitious to integrate all justice sectors, believe me, building such kind of software is more ambitious. Not an easy thing. When it was partially ready, so it's good that I know how it works, but we need to share the knowledge. We started the training part. I remember people came to Armenia, 8 people from Ministry of Justice, from courts, from BRIEP, from prosecution, correctional services, civil litigation services. They came to Armenia for a month and a half, and together with us, they started learning how to use the system, how to make modifications to it. That was one part of sharing our knowledge with them about what we have created for them. We also came here to Kigali for 2 weeks. We made the training of trainers so that whenever you have new people, you could make more and more trainings. And then we started the support. Even today, my team sitting there is making the support for IECMS. So that was the other part of the integration, and then now we are actively working for the change management and for creating the sustainability. Though we are now supporting the government, it would be my pleasure to see that government fully handles everything in this system. So we can just say, this is our work done and government fully handles it. So, once again, about the IECMS. So, it's a solution which is really, really deep in the justice sector. So today, my colleagues from the sector will show you how actually it goes from correctional service to prosecution, from RIP to prosecution to judiciary, how it can come also from the public to judiciary and goes either to correctional service and judgment execution. Globally, when we talk about case management, just me to highlight some functionalities, and then the team will show how actually they work. So it's about messaging. The one with the email time is collaboration, messaging, and notifications. IECMS sends a lot of notifications. It sends email, it sends SMS, it sends in-system notifications. Some can be a bit strange. I always imagine what will happen to me if I take my phone and it says, there is a case filed against you. I'll be afraid. But in Rwanda, it's reality. You can be sitting and you'll be notified even via SMS. When your case is updated, you get notifications. And the system has robust mechanisms to add more notifications when need be. It has a role-based access. It's one big system, but every police officer has access to his cases. Every prosecutor can see his cases. So for every role, for every stage, information is being classified, opened, or closed to users. It has form generation. For those who are working in courts or in RIP, everywhere, so we deal a lot with the forms. If you have a paper-based case management system, you fill those forms manually. But Tim will show today how they can be generated from the system to facilitate the work. Well, it has this analytical reporting, advanced analytics, so-called. So when we were starting this project, it was about the business intelligence. The system should have analytics. It should show current situation and what's happened in the past. I will show a couple of examples today to you about how analytics actually work. It has this calendar functionality, so the judge or other participant know whenever there is hearing. In RCS, they see in the calendar, I think it will be demonstrated, when the inmate is coming out. And workflow automation. The business process is there, but it changes. I remember when we were starting, we had a simple workflow, simple process from iView. I will show you what it looks like now and how actually team here is managing the process whenever there is any change. And tomorrow I will talk about intelligent allocation. Currently in IECMS, president of courts, whenever they have case, they assign to judges. I will show functionality in IECMS and how it works when the system, using machine learning algorithms, predicts when that case will be closed, when president selects a judge. But that will be for tomorrow's session. But wait, I remembered something. Jean-Louis, do you remember when we're doing the needs assessment, we had a very interesting conversation. I remember we were in the car and we were talking what will be the main components of IECMS. And we were talking about this analytics. My memory is not that good, so I have written somewhere in my notebook what exactly we told. And you told that it's important to have cases. It's important to cover roles and cover institutions. The very good functionalities like GIS, it can be after because it's not the core driving currently the system. But you wanted GIS. So we didn't forget about it. And let me go to my notebook because I think I have written somewhere something about this GIS functionality. It would be good, right, if RIB can see on the map per district level or per province level how many crimes there are or how many cases. Or even to visualize on GIS how many prisoners we have in each district. Or for the courts to see how many pending cases we have in each location. And yeah, this is the mail I think I should have sent before, but I kept this as a surprise. So it says, Honorable Minister, Honorable Representatives of Justice Sector, on behalf of Synergy International System, we would like to thank you for being our partner. Thank you. And to share some good news. We have updated IECMS with GIS map functionality, where data can be visualized at 3 main layers: country, province, district. So, this is just an example that you already have in IECMS. You can put cases, you can put filters, you can visualize data on the GIS. So, our small gift for the justice sector, and to make this official, send. So, Jean-Louis, I have problems with memory, but that's why I write everything. Sometimes I may delay a bit, but I remembered you wanted GIS. Now, sorry for speaking from here, it's just to be close to the computer. IECMS actually has several environments. One is the real system, where people have all the real cases, all the real data. Another one we have in Armenia, where we have the development servers, so where all this development work is being done. We have another one, which is again in Rwanda. This is called the training server, an environment where all the trainings are being done. So data there is not the real data, but functionality-wise it's the same. So me and the team, we will make the demonstration on the training server. Because if we put it, I think in live, someone will come and will take the person to prison from here. So, IECMS, as I told, it's a role-based, workflow-driven application. It has one login for everyone, for public, for investigators, for prosecutors. However, based on who logs in, data will, what you see inside will be totally different. Me, I will log in as the super administrator. I thought by my speech you understand I'm the administrator of one of those administrators of IECMS. So, globally, system is divided into several parts. Imagine IECMS is like an iceberg. It has the top, which 99% users see, but it has the huge bottom, which is, I think, available only to people here, the administrators. So, there are many things which are dynamic in the system, but the most important one is the process. The process can change, because I think here we have people from different countries who wonder, if they go from paper-based to electronic, what will change? So I will tell you, many things will change, and I have noticed it in the system. This horrible picture is the actual court adjudication process. It looks sophisticated, but it's managed by administrators, and you will see how it works in real life. One and major functionality of IECMS is following. If we have steps in the case, like case comes to court, it's called posted. Here, then you submit it for processing, it goes to another state. Then it goes to another one, and so on and so forth. The process is really big. Now imagine the situation when you say, you know, when it comes to posted, it can go to dismissed, a new state. So, just a drag and drop. And we have the state. So, it gives possibility to manage the process. Many people asked about the security of the system. And at any stage of this process, because when it's yet posted, nobody should see the decision of the judge. Even if the judge writes something, no one should see it. They should see it when it's pronounced. It should go all this way, but when it reaches this one specifically, then this information should be visible. Permissions. The most important thing, in my opinion, for any case management system. So for every case, for every single field, for every role, we can say what he can see, what is read-only, what is editable. So I think this answers questions how one big system shares and restricts data to everyone. And of course, we have many, many other functionalities in IECMS, but not to go to the technical one, I'd like us to play a bit with the reports. Let's consider one very simple report. If I'm in the courts, I think I would like to know how many cases I have in each court. So this is called the report designer. And I will just write here court. And it shows that I have court case. And I want to know number of cases. So I type here number of cases. And let's view this. So it took me like a second or two to see in the list of all courts how many cases we have in each court. This is the business intelligence. This is that you don't need an administrator or a very, very sophisticated IT skills to build a report. And this gives the strength to IECMS. It's not only that it manages the cases, it's not only about security, it's that you can analyze what you have. Let's make it a bit more complex. It's good to know how many cases we have. Let's see how many cases we have per nature. We put here and let's click view. So now we have civil and penal divided number of cases. It took again a second to build this. Now let's do something which cannot be done if you have a Excel or if you have a paper-based system. Out of those cases, how many in those cases we have case with one of the parties is female? And they have been submitted during this year, and another criteria we will think around. So this is the filtering functionality. Let's say gender of the party is female. And let's say cases which were submitted this year. Not so much. Who thinks that this is not fake, this is working? I knew you wouldn't believe me that this is exactly, this report shows how many cases were submitted this year. One of the parties is female. Now let me show you how I can prove it. I design. I put the court case number. and the party. So, this case, let me open this. This is a case in IECMS. It was submitted this year, so the filter works. We have two parties, Gilbert and Claudine. Gilbert is male. It's good. Claudine, female. So, I don't think having a paper-based system, you could in a couple of minutes find the cases submitted during this year in all the courts of the country where one of the parties is female. The same way I can find even parties who have a children who is at this age. Any kind of report can be built using the system, which gives it a very strong analytical capabilities. But reports are not only way of data visualization. So map will come. We have also visualization using lists, using charts, and it's easy. Here we have pre-saved ones we can see, and we can try to build one chart. I'm not very good at Excel. Sometimes when I build charts in Excel, I get a bit mixed. But here, if I want a pie chart, I like these charts. Per court level, like primary, intermediate, high court, court of appeal, Supreme Court, just to see how many cases we have. So it shows percentage, but pi is not that good. Let's see it in better way. Voila, in the graphic. So the idea of analytics in IECMS was that to build it in a way that anyone, of course in scope of his permission, could understand what is happening, could analyze the data, and could benefit from it. So I'll pass now the microphone to my colleagues from investigation, so that they can show how this data is being filled and how actually it goes in, it is being filled and processed through the whole chain. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My names are Vincent Murenzi, and I'll be assisted by Jean-Claude Musonela from Rwanda Investigation Bureau. If I would mention the whole chapter Kashatur has introduced, and maybe what we'll go through is we'll share with you how the case are being processed in Rwanda Investigation Bureau. But before I go to that, I would like maybe to mention that we have around 194 stations and posts countrywide, and all these stations and posts process cases and submit them to prosecution. Of course, there are some challenges. As Prosecutor General mentioned, we still have some issues with internet, but at least every station today is connected, whether on fiber or 4G connectivity. So we have close to 600 users, investigators, who are actually using this system. And it's been a great milestone. Kashatur is the first person actually who came and with Zakar, of course, as a brain behind, we really appreciate the work done. So in the interest of time, we will go through, take some key areas to showcase whether actually somebody from investigation as an entry point in as far as criminal matters is concerned, to see if really we can enter the system, register a complaint, work on investigations, collecting evidence, compiling, look for relevant expert reports, then submit this case to prosecution. So CROD, every user, of course, has a credential. So we log in. Then, as Kashatur mentioned, we have two key areas, which is portfolio and analytics. But in this case, we're going to talk about the entry point, which is portfolio. So you have, we'll not go into details, but you have, if you want to register a new complaint, you will see there is an action somewhere there. If you open, so the system will have close to 8 tabs. Maybe I'll try to be brief on that. We have general information where you can put some information regarding the party. We have investigation checklist where all those items that actually facilitate an investigation can be fed in the system. Then we have expert. If we have, let's say, some expertise needed in the case, then we request those experts with such knowledge, and those requests, after being approved, then they can also be included in the case. Then we will go to statements and summon, and this is key, where all statements are taken, the recordings of the suspect, the witness, the complainant, all those are being taken from statement and summon. Then we have warrant in case there is a warrant. Then we have exhibit. If there are exhibits that actually will be produced in courts, then will have to be fed into that area. Then all notes and attachment, the relevant information that is needed as a support to a case, will be attached in that area of note and attachment. Then you have history, where whoever actually works on a case at different levels will be tracked. Or let's say in this case, if I happen to work on a case and I submit to my superior for approval before it goes to prosecution, definitely if this person, my immediate boss, access or works on that case, there will be logs to say on such and such date, time, this person has worked on this case. And this, we hope, as a measure as well, that you can, unless you give credentials to somebody, but if you maintain to have your own account, credentials, use them. If somebody is actually trying to tamper and maybe try to change something on the case, he or she will be able to be noticed, or we can track. So the case, the complaint, can you make it big, a bit big? The complaint is received. Then again, by default, that is of course today's date. Then it is filed. Then it is also opened. it can be done on the same day. And as some have mentioned, the system is built on roles and groups. Because if I am an investigator and I work maybe in Chichuchiro, then I will be placed in that station. And that is actually what they are mentioning, that if you are working in that station, it is only that station and maybe the boss to access those files in that particular station. So that it means that if point A is having some investigators working on the case, point B, the station at point B cannot access. Only those at station and the head can have access to that case, because they are the one working on it until it is submitted to prosecution. So we'll have all investigators at the investigation office. Then as a guidance, there are two major issues that were incorporated in the system, that is committed by minor and gender-based violence. If we select those either way, it means this case will be treated in not an usual manner, if I may say, because it is gender sensitive and it is a case that is related to minor. So if now somebody has brought a complaint, we put a summary of a complaint in that summary area. Then from there, we can save this complaint. So we want to show you that we can save this summary of a complaint and see if actually the system will have to generate a case number. And that will be very interesting. So there is a case number, CMP, complaint. It is still a complaint. So as we move, we'll reach a point where it will have to lose that CMP, and we'll have another case number which actually will be used and eventually submit to prosecution. So all parties can be information to parties in the case can be fed in parties. So the system is able to determine, let's say if it's not your first time to be maybe you registered a complaint and your names on the system. The system is able, before maybe you add he or her particulars, the system is able to determine if this person already exists. Then if we put the name or the ID, because now we are coming to integration, it will have to filter the information from NID. So for the interest of the time, those are some of the parties. We can filter one and maybe put a role. If this person is a suspect or a complainant, then for the interest, Claude, for the interest of time, let's have, okay, put one complainant. So you can put first name, those are mandatory, and put gender. It has a lot, the system is so rich, but we can even put a few as a demo. Then we see the dates of birth, the nationality, blood group, all things are included. So you can put a marital status. So you can put whether it's free. Then you can also add some information regarding to address. It's so vital. But what is important is we want to see that the party has actually been created in the system. So we have Carissa John. Okay. So here is Carissa Patrick, and you want to give him a role. can you go back and see some of the ones that are existing? Then maybe we test on those ones. So there you can see we have roles because some are suspect, complainant, victim, witness. So it depends. If someone comes as a witness or a suspect, then you have to select the suspect, give him maybe the role of a complainant. Then you can save. Then we can also have another one, let's say, and we can add another one, call him a suspect. So for the interest of time, we shall be using a few, but the system is so rich that it has every details regarding a party. So, suspect. So, then in the system we have two parties in this case, which is still a complaint, and we can also add a representative, a legal representative, somebody to assist in legal matters. And as we mentioned earlier, along the proceedings, if this person who is assisting, because this person is assisting CIFA, then because we have put some details, even the telephone, so whenever there is a proceeding, this person, the legal representative, will be notified, whether through emails or SMS. So, then it's enough. Then we can move to, so we'll give to the party, and then there will be representing or assistant in the system. So it depends. So we will not go into details of complete description, but you can feel what is actually, what I want to go to is the crime committed, because the penal code and all relevant legal aspects have been put into the...
All new cases received in a prosecution are received by Chief Assistant. I give my colleagues as the Chief Prosecutor to log in to proceed that cases from investigation.
Thank you, dear Prosecutor. My name is Samson Ngawonziza. I am the Chief Assistant in the Office of Prosecutor General. So I want to show you when the case file coming from investigation, what we do until we submit the case file from prosecution to the court. So I want to do it staying here. You will apologize. So as Chief Assistant, I have two roles. One, I am Chief Assistant. Second, I will be the Assistant, Prosecutor Assistant. So let's open the case file from Rwanda Investigation Bureau. So this, the first one, this one is that a case was doing by RIB, by investigation. So I want to open it, and after open it, I want to show you that I want to see that case from RIB is the suspect is Munana Ivan, complainant is Sifa. So after seeing this case file, I send it to assistant prosecutor in order to check it, to see if there is expert reports, if the statement are already done, and all attachments. So as Chief Assistant, I do log out to this, to my account in order to open the account of a prosecutor assistant. I log out. No, sorry. I before send this case to the prosecutor assistant. I edit and I choose one of the prosecutor assistant. Here I will choose the first one, Ingabire Grass. I tick on his name, then I save. After saving his name, I click on these actions. I click on it, then there is prosecutor assistant assigned. I tick on it. I write a message. You can check this file to see if it is complete. I save this. Then the case file is already gone to the assistant prosecutor. So here I log out as chief assistant and open the account of prosecutor assistant. Are you sure you want to log out from the system? Yes, I log out. So the prosecutor assistant is named Ingabire Grass. This is username, his username, and I want to open Kachiru. I open it. So the case file is already in his account. So I open it and see the case file. After opening it, I read the message that chief assistant wrote to me. He writes, check this file and see if it is complete. After seeing that message, I check. I see if in this file there is a suspect, obvious suspect can be there. Complainant, if there is witness, and so on. I check even if there is expert report. I check it. I check statement and summons. I check warrants. Everything is checked accordingly to these from one general information to the history. Then after checking this case, I want to send it back to the chief assistant. I click on these actions. Case complete. Submit to chief assistant. I have already checked this file. I want to send it back to my chief assistant. I click it here. I write for him a message. The case file already checked, and I save. So after saving this message, I log out from prosecutor assistant and I open to the, you see that the case file have already sent. There is no case file in his account. Then I log out. Now, I will open as chief assistant. Chief assistant is Uwimanzi. Sorry. I want to open as Uwimanzi, who is the chief assistant. I open it. So when I open my chief assistant, I see my file is coming from the prosecutor assistant. Let's check it. Here, after checking it, I will send it to the chief prosecutor. In order to send it to the prosecutor, I will send it to the chief prosecutor in order to send it to prosecutor and do everything on it. I open it. And after open it, I click on action. There is a message, case completeness verified, submit for prosecutor assignment. I click on it. Then I send a message to my chief prosecutor. This case, we received this case and it is completed. So any prosecutor can proceed on it. That is the message from chief assistant. So the case file is already gone to the account of my chief prosecutor. So my chief prosecutor will come here and will see the case. After seeing the case, he will assign to the prosecutor. Thank you.
In this case, I play the role of prosecutor. Here, when I receive the case, there is some information here. I must check before doing any other thing. Is to check if the suspect is there, if also there is a complainant, as well as the crime committed and the law provided and punish this crime. Then after that, I check in the related cases, the case from investigation station to check the details concerning the investigation, such as the statements, suspect statement, witness, and victims. Then after that, I change the status of the case in order to put the suspect in the status of interrogation. Then after that, I open the statement and summons in order to commence the interrogation of suspect. After interrogation of suspect, we proceed with the warrant, arrest warrant, if the suspect is detained. Then after that, we proceed with indictment. To prepare indictment, we first write a particular or identification of suspect, then a particular or identification of suspect, then a statement of facts in this case. After that, we proceed with constitutive elements of this crime or this offense, the moral element, material element, and legal element. All these are constitutive elements of this offense. After constitutive elements, we put evidences, then then prosecutors' submissions, and finally, inventory of the docket. After this, we save all information we put in this indictment. After this, we export the indictment and we sign the indictment. After signation of indictment, we upload it in the system. All documents attached in the system, we find them here in the notes and the attachment. Then after preparing the indictment, it is supposed that at the end of investigation, then which is next is to send the case to my chief prosecutor for verification and for approval that the case can be sent to court for trial. Yeah, the system is asking me whether the indictment is prepared or not. I inform the system that this indictment is prepared and is attached in the system. Then after this, I ask my chief prosecutor to send this case file to court for trial. So you see that the case is now closed by prosecutor, and he's asking chief prosecutor to send the case to court because the case is completed. So now the role of prosecutor at this case is at the end. Then the next role is for chief prosecutor for sending it to court for trial. Thank you very much.
As the chief prosecutor, I enter as the chief prosecutor to send the case to the assistant prosecutor. The case was the number 0003, and I open it and I send it to the prosecutor assistant for merit trial. Trial on merit. You can send it.
Thank you. So when the case file is finished, And when the prosecutor sent it, goes to the prosecutor assistant to send it to the court. So I open it and to see if all those stages have been done by the prosecutor, by the chief prosecutor. After verifying that, now I want to send it to the court. So I click here to the action, and there is two options. One is close prosecution case, and other is send back case to prosecutor for review. If there is something which was not mentioned, you can send it back to the prosecutor and review it. But everything is already done, so it is time to send it to the court. So I click on cross prosecution case. I click it. After clicking it, I write a message. Already done. It is time to send it to the court. I save. When I save it, I go to the edit. Automatically, I edit. After going there, I come back to the general information here. I want to access where on the point 1.8, where we can find court submission. So I click to add in order to see where whether the court that I will send it. So here you see there is complete prosecution case. I click on yes. Then I click on select court level. This case is for primary court level. I click on primary court level. After that, I select the court. That court is Kachiru low level. Kachiru. Tebe Kachiru. I click on it. Then this case category is criminal. I click in criminal. It is first instance. There is subject matter. It is an obligation to fill here. I fill here. I send it to the court. I send it to the court, Tebeka Chiru. Then I write object of litigation. Mother. Motivation. Here I can write the article 140. Article 140. Penal Code. Then here I save. After saving that, you see in this point, court submissions, there is Tebeka Chiru. In the right side, we can find submit. Then I submit. I submit it to the court. Automatically, the system generates the number of court. This case is already in court. So I save and I close. So now it is the time to the court to open his account and to see the court that have been sent by prosecution. Thank you.
I know that you're all very tired. But let's give a hand clap to the prosecutors. It really brings me great joy when I see lawyers and judges and prosecutors using the computer as if they studied IT. Because, because I understand how hard it is for me to learn the law, because I need to understand what the law says to incorporate it in IECMS. So please, thank you very much. I'm not going to go into a lot of details in the interest of time, but I'm going to highlight the key areas that people had concern and interest in about IECMS. And as the speaker said, we are here throughout the whole conference. In case anybody has any issue, they can feel free to contact us. Again, in the interest of time, I have logged into the system as the public user, but also as the court user, because it's actually hard to present the whole procedure of the court in 5 minutes. Because, you know, in court, we don't only have penal cases, we have penal and civil cases. So we need to showcase that the system does not only cater for criminal matters, but it also caters for civil matters. And that is what I'm going to try to showcase in 5 minutes. So I have created a public user by the names of Kalisa John. And I want to show you one of the concerns that people had if the system is able to notify people in case they have delayed to do something they had to do on the case. And as you can see, the system actually does put a mark on each case that is either overdue or is about to be overdue, so that both the litigant and the managers can know that this case, we need to pay attention to this case. Secondly, I have taken the pleasure to show that the system has its inbuilt system calendar, so that as a litigant, as a lawyer, as any litigant, I don't have to keep a physical calendar in my office to know when I have to go to court. Because whenever I have a date in court, the system will mark it for me in blue to say that on that date you have an agenda in court. And when I click on it, I can easily see that I have a hearing for that case in a certain court. Also, they mentioned earlier about the problem of internet and power, and the system in itself is built to solve that problem, because it is built with an autosave functionality that allows the litigant to save whatever data they had before the power was cut or the internet was cut, so that whenever the power comes back, they will continue as if nothing happened. Also, the system has a help desk. So litigants don't have to waste time coming to court asking, how far is my case, how far is my case, what can I do? They can just go to the help desk online and write to court and ask them any kind of question they have, and they will get immediate feedback. Also, as a litigant, I am able to see all the cases in all courts that I have ever been party or an advocate in by simply logging into the system. As you can see, in my cases, as a litigant, I will have all cases from any court in the whole country. And also I can see on the status, what is the status of my case currently and next where it will go. For example, I have a case that is currently posted and they are pending to check its availability. So whenever the case does something to go, for example, under hearing, the system will tell me here that the case is pending decision pronouncement or the case is under court meeting. So I don't have to go to the court always to ask how far my case is. Also, there were concerns about whether the system notifies the litigant on everything, and I took the advantage of trying that so that I can show you that as this litigant called Kalisa John, he has an email that he has put into the system called kalisajohn2019@gmail.com. And I tried to process a case. So on each step of processing, the system will send me an email notification. This one says your case number is allocated. This one says your case hearing is scheduled. This one shows the case pronouncement is scheduled. So whenever anything is done on the system, automatically the system will notify the users, the litigants of the system, via email and via SMS, and even through the system, that pay attention, such and such thing has been done on your case. On the side of the court, I hope I'm not rushing into everything, but I am trying to capture the main important things. Also, going back to the litigant, remember they filed a case against a litigant, a penal case. So this litigant should be able to access his prosecution case and his investigation case in order to be able to prepare his case. So this person, whenever he has a penal case that, for example, has gone to court, the court will link him to the case. When that is done, he can access his case and just by one click access the prosecution and the police cases, just by one click. Whereas in long time it used to take transportation money and also time, the cost of time to go to the prosecution and the police to find out about this case. In the same manner, I have gone to the court to show the functionalities of that the court has. I am not going to enter as a registrar, then click next to chief registrar. We all know procedures of court, and it may be different for different countries. So I'm just going to show the key functionalities, and whenever someone needs to know the actual process for Rwanda, they can contact us anytime. So when it comes to court, the court is able to verify payments. One of the main advantages of the IECMS is that you can pay court fees online using MasterCard or Visa card or even mobile money. And you can even pay for copies of judgment or anything. So if someone has a case in Rwanda, they don't have to travel to Rwanda or know someone in Rwanda who can file for them court fees. You can file your case wherever you are and pay your fees online, and then the system will automatically tell the court that your fees are paid. As you can see, Kalisa John, myself, I filed the case and I paid some fees online, and the system shows that the status of payment is paid, and it makes it more visual for the registrar to know that these fees are paid. The registrar can be able to access his cases. My cases means that I have something to do on these cases. I have an action to do on these cases, so they don't get mixed up in any other cases in the court. But if I want to consult another case in the court, I can also access such a case in my court cases. And I also have my closed cases. So there is no way I can fail to reach a certain case that was filed in my court. I want to show one more functionality that most people have hinted on, but they have not really showed you the beauty of that functionality. And it is called the history trail. So as you know, cases are sensitive and we need to know who has done what on such a case. So what the system does, it saves each version of the case, and you can actually go back and compare each version of the case. So for example, if I have version 1 and version 5, I can compare and see what exactly changed on that case and who changed it and at what time. As that is loading, I'll go back to the litigant to show you one more important thing that is very, very interesting. In civil matters, submissions are written within the system, and a litigant is able to see both his submission and the defendant's submission side by side and compare for each issue. So if we have an issue, for example, ownership, that I'm going to show you, that I have created, the plaintiff has said that I am the owner of the property because it reaches the judge and there is no arrest information. The system will know that, this person has been judged to be imprisoned, but he's not yet detained. So it will automatically send a case in the police asking them to detain that person according to the order of the judge. And then whenever that person is detained, it will create a case in the RCS. So without wasting much of your time and without making you more tired, I beg to end my presentation here. And if you have any question or any clarification you would like from us, in the interest of time, you can find us in the conference. Thank you very much.
One time they change because they bring, they go. So we say approximately. So they are at the prison. Let me say one prison. We have like 4 departments that assess the system. And these are the Registrar Department, the Medical Department, Social Department, and the Legal Department. So in 5 minutes, I don't want to delay much. I'll go slow. If the network allows, I see the network is going very, very slow. Okay. When the detainee or an inmate comes at the prison or is brought to the prison, the first office he reaches is the registrar's office. And what does the registrar do? The registrar will check all details of the inmate, including the names, father, mother, address, is he a national, is he international, all that. He will check also the crime committed. But he is not only checking the system, he will be even asking the detainee. And the interview between the registrar and the detainee, the officer will be relating the information that he is giving and what is in the system. So what he does, if he finds everything is right, so he will edit or write the arrival date at the prison. So after that, he adds the photo. You see the picture there, where he adds the picture. That is the registrar. After checking all the details, he will add the date the detainee arrived at the prison plus the photo. After all that, the detainee will be sent to the medical department. So I don't want to delay much. And what does, if the detainee or the inmate is sent to the medical department, what does the doctor do to the detainee? For him, what he does, he will check the health status of the inmate. Is he fit for detention or not? And what to do? Is he having some chronic diseases or not? So if he finds that the inmate is having the chronic diseases, it will help the prison management for classification. Is he having some diseases that can be spread so that he can be isolated from other inmates? So all that health status will be checked by the medical office. So after that, the person or the detainee or the inmate is sent to the social department. I'm rushing, I don't want to go through all those because of the time, but you can hear the context. When the inmate reaches the social department, the social officer, what he does is to restore all items the inmate has brought when has been given a sentence from all those processes that they were presenting, from the rape, prostitution, court, all that. When he reaches the prison, the social officer, he will restore all the items, passport, ID, money, belt, and other prohibited items, like he's having maybe a razor blade, he will be checked. We check him. Oh, he's checked properly. So after checking him, all those items are recorded properly. So in release, there are many cases, I mean categories. He can end his sentence, he can die, or he can be given a presidential pardon. Then the person is released. If he dies, we do the same process. We call the parents, we give the properties, and all those properties. So I thank you very much. I think I not used too much time. Thank you very much.